Hello everyone, ZVCrew here and welcome back to the channel. Many of you asked what kind of settings I'm using when I'm actually creating my YouTube videos. So I thought we'd do a little three-part series on all the settings I have for both in the game, what programs I'm using to record and what settings they are. And then part 2 is going to actually go over how I edit my videos. And then part 3 will be rendering the video and uploading them to YouTube and publishing them for public consumption. So the first thing we're going to do today is we are going to go through the settings in Farming Simulator 19, since that's the main game I'm using on my YouTube channel. So as you can see, we are on the launch page for the game. So before you go into any saved games or create a game, the first thing you're going to want to do is actually set up your graphic settings. So go ahead and go down to Options, and then you're going to click on the screen icon here at the top. This is your display settings. Now you can see under Hardware Profile, I actually have mine set at very high. The reason for this is my computer can output in very good quality due to the higher spec computer I have. Now I do have a couple-year-old CPU in this system, but it's still a very good CPU. It is an i7-8700 CPU. I have 16 gigabytes of RAM. My graphics card is an NVIDIA GeForce 1070. And I actually have upgraded my hard drive to a 500 gigabyte Samsung Evo Plus M.2 SSD. So I do have very fast storage as well, and that helps also. So the next thing on the list you see that is screen resolution is set at 2560 by 1440 with an aspect ratio of 16 by 9. So this screen resolution, you're going to want to choose the one that it matches your screen that you are actually playing your game with. In my case, my screen is capable of a 1440 resolution. So that's the reason I have it set at. You can scroll through until you find the one that you are looking for. Most people have a 1920 by 1080 screen, which is a full HD screen, and also at 16 by 9 aspect ratio. And then you can scroll down until you find if you have a 720. Just keep scrolling until you find the one that says 720, which is 1280 by 720. Same thing, 16 by 9 aspect ratio. So I'm going to go ahead and back out of this because I do not want to save those settings. Next thing we're going to do is click on this icon here, which is the 3 blocks. That is your keyboard controls. You are welcome to go through and change any of the key bindings for whether you're using a controller, a steering wheel, or if you are using your keyboard, you can change which key does what. All you have to do is click on the box, click the key, and it will change it to whatever. I'm going to hold the escape key here to get out of that because I don't need to change any of those. And then this is your controller settings. Now I don't have I normally play with an Xbox One controller. I don't have it connected right at the moment, so only thing that's showing up is my mouse. And then in general settings, you can go in and change anything in here. Your language, your input, game paths. The big thing on here is your volume. Now some people have some settings that they like to use. Normally what I do is I try to keep my volume down when I'm recording so you can hear my voice instead of hearing the loud roar of a tractor engine. So the rule of thumb is 20-20-10. So volume master, you're actually going to put it down to 20. Music volume, you always want to have it off. You don't want to have any in-game music playing in the background. Vehicle volume, same thing. You're going to turn it down to 20. And then your environment volume will be 10. You don't need to worry about your radio volume, or at least this one here, unless you actually turn the radio on during the game. And all you need to do to save these settings is just hit apply, and now they are set. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to set up a save game and get started on going through how to set up your farm and be preparing to record. Okay, so in career mode, you can choose whether you want to use new farmer, farm manager, or start from scratch. It is completely up to you how you want to start your game. It all depends on, do you want to start with some equipment and some land and work your way from that? Do you want to pick where your farm is on your farm and pick all your equipment and go through that process as the beginning of your series? So for this demonstration, we are going to just do new farmer. So go ahead and click new farmer. And then you go through and pick out your map, whichever map you're going to use. We're going to go ahead and use Ravenport for this demonstration. Now here's your mod screen. If you have any mods, my recommendation for this screen is to, if you have hundreds of mods like I do, is actually deselect everything and only choose the mods that you are going to be using for this particular save game. It helps with the smoothness and hopefully any lack of any lag. So I'm only going to enable one certain mod for this demonstration. So I'm just going to scroll down until I find it. Now this mod will come in very handy for setting up your games, which is easy development controls, and we will actually go ahead and go over that once we load the game. Go ahead and click on it, make sure it is selected, and then hit start. So we're going to go ahead and jump in a tractor. So now the game actually is set to go ahead and start your tractor when you automatically jump in. This is completely up to you how you want to do it. So I don't like to have the tractor start when I go into the game. So the first thing I do once I load a new game is I actually go into game settings, which is the tractor here. I change automatic start engine to off. I leave stop and go braking on because I do use a controller and not a steering wheel and pedals. I leave fuel usage on to low. You are welcome to change it to any other setting. And then I change all these settings where helper refills and buys. I turn them all off. I turn plant growth down, all the way to slow to begin with, because you are getting your farm set up for your series. And I leave plant withering off. You're welcome to turn it on. Same thing with crop destruction. You can turn it on and off. I play with it off. Just easier for me. I do turn on plowing, and I leave the lime requirement on, and I actually play with weeds off. It's the same thing with the weeds. If you decide you do want to do some weed control and during your gameplay, feel free to leave that on. And then I go ahead and save the game, so it saves these settings. So because if for some reason you back out and you come back in, you don't have to reset these. And one other thing I do before we leave this screen, I do turn the autosave off just in case something happens while you're recording and you need to start over. That way you're not backtracking yourself and restoring from a backup save to go back from, like I say, you plowed halfway through a field and you messed up what you were going to say, messed up the view of the tractor, anything like that. That is already turned off, so you can just go revert back to the last save and start over. So each time I do complete a plow of a field or a harvest and I'm satisfied for how it turned out, I go ahead and pop in and do a quick save on the game. Okay, so next thing I wanted to go ahead and show you is the easy development tools. So to bring those up, you're going to hit F11 on your keyboard. And then there are several settings in here that will allow you to do things. The first thing you notice, you can add and remove money. And then I really don't use these a lot. And then the next thing is you do have the ability to teleport yourself anywhere. This will include if you are out of the tractor, it will just be you that gets teleported. If you're in a tractor or a truck, and if you have any implements, trailers attached, it will teleport the entire vehicle and attachments to that field. So I'm going to back out because I know none of these attachments are attached. I'm going to attach our plow here, and there is a weight on the front. Okay, so all you need to do is scroll through, find what fields you want to teleport to, choose your field, hit the check mark, automatically takes you to that field. So, and it puts you right in the middle of the field. So I'm going to go ahead and move just so you can see that we actually teleported to field 5. Okay. And then you're welcome to go through any of these settings. I use the teleport one a lot, add and remove bunny if you need to do that, if you're not going to do like a start from scratch series, or you want to keep your money down low. And the other major setting I use is if you click on this icon here with the looks like land with a big circle in it, this actually will let you change your fields. It lets you change what crops in your field, what growth setting you're at, and whether it's fertilized or not. So if we back out of this real quick and jump out of the tractor here. So according to our field info, we are in field 5. The field type is canola. It is growing. It's fertilized 100%. Well, let's say I wanted cotton in this field that is not fertilized. So you go ahead and hit F11, go over to fruit type, scroll through until you find cotton. And I must have missed it. And your growth state, you pick 1 is freshly planted, 2 is first growth, second growth, third growth, and then you start into the harvest, the ready to harvest stages. If you go all the way to growth state 8, it is a withered crop. So we're going to back out to, we're going to say second growth state. And I don't want any fertilizer. And let's say it's good. So if you leave plowing state to off, it will require plowing. Same thing, if you turn weeds on, off, you can change the settings for how far the weeds are. And lime. And then you just hit the check mark. And magically, it is now cotton. And it needs plowing, it needs lime. Perfect. You can also set it to whether it's plowed, cultivated, and just go through until you find what you want. Same thing, hit the check mark. There you go. Now the field is plowed. But even though you did this part, it still says it needs plowing because we didn't change that setting down here in plowing state. And then one last thing I do is if you know how you have the HUD up, you have the map, you have the weather up in the upper right corner, and the field information, you can go ahead and turn that off. You do need to go through the development tools. You can go on here, and then you can turn on and off flight no HUD mode. Just go ahead and turn it on. And then all you need to do is hit the O key on your keyboard and it all disappears. Okay, last thing I wanted to cover today is we're going to go ahead and switch over to my recording software, which I do use OBS to record with. So let's go ahead and switch over to that here. So here we are in OBS. So this is the normal screen you're greeted with. First thing we need to do is actually add a source of what you're going to be recording. So down in sources, you can see here that I have several listed. I actually do have Farming Simulator already set up, but we're actually going to go through the steps to add a new source. So the first thing you're going to do is go ahead and hit the plus button here. And what I do, I use window capture. The reason why I do that is that I can actually pick the program that I want to catch. That way I don't have the Windows start menu or anything in the window. So I'm just going to go ahead and name this FS19. I'm going to do 2 because this is the second one. And we're going to go ahead and OK. So the next thing you're going to do on this screen is you're going to choose Farming Simulator from the list, which it is right here. You just find it, make sure that your game is open before you do this, otherwise it will not be listed here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and you can see it has shown up, so just push OK. Great, now we have our game capture ready to go. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to go through the settings for audio and video. So over here in the right corner, you're going to hit settings. And then the screen's going to pop up. You don't need to do much under general. You can go through these if you'd like and see if there's anything you need to change. So I'm going to go down to output. Output mode is going to be simple. The next box is actually streaming. If you do want to stream from OBS, you can do that. This is where you set your settings for that. I currently don't do any streaming, so I'm not going to change any of those settings. Next thing under that is recording. So the first box is your recording path. This is where your new videos are going to be saved every time you hit that record button. So I actually do have a video file set up for new recordings. And then recording quality, I have set as high quality, medium file size. There are other sizes you can do. I just choose this one. You got good quality video, but the file is not too big. And then you have recording format. I record in MKV. The reason for doing that is if you switch to MP4, which is what you need to have your format in for YouTube, you get a warning that if something comes up and the file is not finalized, you may lose it and you may have split up video and all that stuff. So that's why I leave it in MKV. Okay, I leave encoder to hardware. You can change that if you want. Much everything else is this software, whatever. I leave it on hardware. Okay. Next thing was we're going to go down to audio. Now I use a Corsair Virtuoso wireless gaming headset. So I have everything set here for that. Desktop audio is actually set for my headset. So the game sound will come through my headset, as well as if you're going to play multiplayer and record through and use voice chat on Discord. When it is connected, the audio from Discord comes through my headset as well. So I have desktop audio set as my headphones. Desktop audio too can be any other audio source, like if you have computer speakers connected to your computer. As you can see, I have several listed here. I do run a 2-screen setup, so you're going to see 2 different screens and also the headphones. And then also there is an audio output on the back of my computer. Now both my screens have built-in speakers, that's why they are listed here. Normally I would have it set as one of my screens. The Dell is my main screen, so that's why I go ahead and set that. And then under mic, I have chosen my headset mic that is attached. And then if you do have multiple mics, you are welcome to add any more here. Just make sure they are connected before you go through the settings here to add them in. And then everything else below that I don't use. Okay, next tab is going to be video. I record in 2560 by 1440, so that is my canvas resolution. Make sure that matches what you want to record in. That way it's you don't have to try to upscale, downscale, anything like that. And then the next line here is output scaled resolution. So let's say you're going to record in 1440, but you only want the video to be in 1080. So you would just go ahead and change that to 1920 by 1080, and then your output video will be in 1080p instead of 1440. And then the last line here is your frames per second. You can change it to 60, 30, anything like that. I keep it in 60. It helps the video to be a little bit smoother, nicer looking, less artifacting, anything like that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go down to hotkeys. In this screen, you can actually set up your key bindings on how to start streaming, stop recording, anything. Just go through the list, pick your key bindings, and go ahead and set them. It's fairly straightforward. All you need to do is click the box, press the key on the keyboard, and it's going to set it. And then same thing, you can push the same button for start and stop. And then the last thing you need to do is you do need to hit apply to actually save any settings. Otherwise, you will be doing this over again. I'm going to be hitting cancel because I don't want to change any of my settings. The last thing I wanted to point out to you is down here under audio mixer, you can actually see my mic is moving back and forth. You can see the line moving there. That is because it is picking up my audio from the mic. You want to make sure that if you are going to be recording any voice or anything like that, that is not muted, that is working before you start recording. Now, if I have any sound coming through desktop audio or desktop audio 2, you will see the same thing. These bars will be moving. Okay, and that's pretty much what I do in OBS. The last thing you're going to do is you are actually going to go ahead and hit start recording. So you can either hit your key binding to go ahead and start recording, or you can tab into OBS when you want to record. All you need to do is hit start recording over here. And once it starts, you do have a timer, and also it is recording. So right now we are recording from OBS. There will be a file in my saved file that has this recording. You do have the option to pause it, or you can just hit stop recording when you are done. Okay, well, that covers my setup for Farming Simulator 19 and OBS recording software. If you saw anything, have any suggestions for me or any questions, feel free to comment below. If you liked what you see, go ahead and hit that like button. Also, for any future videos from ZVCrew, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications. Thank you very much and have a great day.